From being able to give life force energy to erasing time, today I'll be ranking all the stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind based on their real life usefulness. Starting off with the stand of the best boy Naranja, we have Aerosmith. The stand has a plane-like shape and uses bombs and guns to kill its opponents. It's got a pretty good range and it picks up on carbon dioxide in the vicinity, so you got a pretty good radar system in your pocket. I usually don't rank stands based on their ability to use fire force, but this stand, you can be a pretty good silent killer with a stand like this, and it is very useful, especially for searching for someone if they're lost or something, or someone's pet for that matter. So this is a pretty easy A tier stand. Next up we got Babyface, and don't be fooled by its name, this is not a cute stand at all. So what it does basically is that it impregnates a female victim, I should say, and from this interaction you get a secondary stand called Junior. Junior is a long range stand, and the stand owner does not have full control over Junior. However, it can give commands to it, and what Junior does basically is it's a killing machine with a long range, and for its main ability it disintegrates matter. I'm not sure if that sounds correct, but it just basically takes cubic parts of its victim and vacuums it out of their body. I don't see any real life use in such a stand apart from maybe for murderous intents. And aside from that, if you're not outright trying to end someone, this is a D tier stand. I don't necessarily see any reason why someone would need a stand like this. Now we got Beach Boy, and this stand gives me PTSD every time I think about playing YBA. The stand owner, Pesci, who's got the best character design out of all the JoJo's Part 5. And what this stand basically does, it's got a pretty good long and short range use, as with its intangible hook it can get into someone's body and off them basically. As it stands, killing someone is not the best thing in real life. However, because it's a fishing rod, you can pretty much do fishing, honestly. I mean, it's just got that, and with modern technology you got better fishing methods than just using a rod, and because it's quite limited to its use, I'm gonna have to put this at C tier. Another stand whose owner got one of the best designs in anime history, Black Sabbath, a stand that hides in shadows and pierces its victims with a stand arrow to see if they'll get a stand or not. Now with such a stand, I don't see many uses because it only can hide in shadows, and if it doesn't, it'll just burn away, and you can't really control the stand. I mean, I didn't see Popo having full control over this long range stand, and it honestly doesn't do much apart from, you know, giving people stands. So in that regard, in real life situations, I don't think this is one of the better options. It just doesn't do much, and it can probably kill someone even you might know by piercing them with a stand arrow, so it's a definite F. Another assassin-like stand is Clash, and in the anime, this stand can teleport between water or any sort of liquid, and it can alter its size like any other stand, I guess, and it's pretty much an assassin stand, and it does the job pretty cleanly like Aerosmith. You don't have to show your body or nothing. Now for personal protection, I'd say this stand is pretty limited, because if you don't got a cup of water with you all the time, you're not really gonna do much against any of your opponents. Now it's one of the better assassin stands. It's not as gruesome as some of the maybe others, however it is pretty limited to its use as well, so I can't really put this above C tier. I mean, I can't really put this above Beach Boy, at least you can fish with that one, so it's definitely a C tier. Now we got Echo's Act 3, the stand of the reliable man Koichi. And we all know what Echo's Act 3 does. It manipulates gravity and pulling someone down to the ground. I mean, this is a very useful stand, because when you demolish buildings, sites like that, this stand would be very useful, because you won't need to use TNTs and whatnot to blow the building. You can just use the stand, bring down the building, easy, and it is definitely an A tier stand. I mean, I didn't even have to get to how good this stand is this for protection wise, so it's a definite A tier stand. Now we got the stand of the protagonist, Golden Experience. I cannot even say how useful this would be in real life. This stand basically gives life force energy, and through this you can make organs, any sort of body parts, or any sort of animal with enough power. So you can sell organs, you can create animals, sell organs. It is very useful in real life in terms of its healing properties, and basically that just definitely gets it an S tier spot, no questions asked. And now we got the main course, the Requiem stand of Golden Experience. Aside from doing everything that Golden Experience can, it has one additional ability, and that is to revert to 0. So any event, incident, or whatever you want can be reverted back to 0, like nothing ever happened. That is just way too useful in real life. Imagine you ask out your crush, she says no, well, revert back to 0, that never happened. So you can avoid a lot of things in your life, especially even death at one point. You can defy fate with a Requiem stand like this. So it is, nothing tops this in the S tier. Definitely nothing tops that. Now we got Green Day and its user Chocolata. We all know is a psychopath, sociopath. I'm not even gonna get to that. And what this stand basically does, it rots things away. Now, before you judge it, rotting things isn't as useless as it sounds. It has some benefits actually, like imagine you got harvest crops and due to some environmental incident, event, those crops, I don't know, turn out to be poisonous or whatnot and you need to get rid of them. Well, Green Day would get the job done. And in any sort or event, you can use rotting to your advantage against pests or pesticide. And actually it does have a good use if you think about it. So I can't give it B tier, but I know you guys will be livid. Hopefully you won't butcher me for my opinion on this one. Now we got the stand of the main antagonist, the stand King Crimson, and we don't even gotta cover how strong, fast, agile this stand is. We are straight up jumping to its main ability of erasing time by 10 seconds. That is very useful. It can confuse anyone first off. And in a real life situation, let's say a car is about to come crashing into you, you can erase time and evade that event. 10 seconds doesn't sound much, but with a stand like this, you'll definitely get out of most situations in your life. It is a definite S tier stand. Next up we got Craftwork, which is an interesting stand, and its main ability is to lock an object's or an individual's position, and with the build up of the kinetic energy while it's locked in its position, you can revert it towards somewhere else as a projectile and use it like a gun. That sounds extremely useful in real life. Imagine like there's a kid playing by a road and out of nowhere truck comes in, just is about to run over the kid. You can stop the truck with just one tap. I mean, the driver will probably fly out of that car, but at least you'll save the kid. And I think it is definitely an A tier useful stand. Could be argued to put it a bit down, but I think it is pretty useful. Up next we got Little Feet, and even with the smallest of cuts done to an object or a living being, it can shrink it in size. And this is pretty useful because if you need to carry something, something big, even your house probably, you can shrink it down to size and carry it everywhere. It makes everything portable. I think that is very useful in real life. You can become the best transportation system in the planet basically. So for that, I'll think it is definitely deserving of A tier, and even maybe more than Koichi. I think I'm gonna put this at the top of A tier because of its transportation ability. Now we got Man in the Mirror, and much like Clash, this is like an assassin stand where it is pretty limited to its use. You need a reflective surface to make use of the stand, and what it does is the owner of the stand can drag anyone into a mirror dimension, and in that mirror dimension there's really nothing much going on. It's just you and whoever you drag that in. I think what it separates it from Clash and makes it useful is that you'll have peace and quiet in a mirrored world because it's just you and probably not much else. And you can make a good profit out of that. With a place like that, you can basically offer people a different dimension where they can experience a lot of stuff. Now, it's not really that useful in our planet, but it can be a lucrative business model if you think about it. So it definitely goes high B tier in my opinion. Up next, we got one of the most useful stands in part 5, is Metallica, and it can control iron in any shape or form. Even inside your bloodstream, you can create razors, blades, and any sharp object if you need, and anything that can be made through iron. This is one of the most useful stands. No questions asked, I think this does earn a place in S tier. Like below S tier, all of these, it's one of the best stands in part 5. Up next, we got Moody Blues, a stand that can revert itself back in time to see the culprit's identity, position, or get any sort of information like that. It is very useful for, I think, detectives and whatnot and that sort of work, so I think it does get an A tier usefulness. Now we have Mr. President, and this is, I think it's one of the funniest stands ever. What it is basically is it's a portable room, and he'll need to carry around the turtle and the thing on its back as well. A portable room sounds nice, and it's not the biggest thing out there, but it does sound nice, and you can hide in it, you know, if you are being tracked down by FBI or something. So I think it is very useful in that regard, so I'll have to put this above in the B tier. Now we have Notorious B.I.G., and straight away I'll have to put this and make Black Sabbath go up by 1 tier, because now that I rethink it, this is just no tier. Because first off, you'll need to kill yourself to manifest this stand. Already from the start, it is one of the worst stands ever. And this stand, you cannot control it. Well, you're already 6 feet underground, and this is a destroying machine. It absorbs anything, and it tracks down the fastest thing around you. It is definitely single-handedly the worst stand in part 5. You'll definitely would not want a stand like this. Now we got the stand of another lunatic, Seko, and his stand Oasis. What this stand does, it basically liquefies the ground, where you can go past anything, honestly. It does have its merits, I'll have to say. You can go through anything, but then again, if there's non-stand users around you, and they'll see you naked, basically, because they're not able to see the stand, which is the clothing that is on Seko. And being able to be transparent and go through stuff sounds cool. I don't think I'll risk my honor and, you know, publicly be shamed because of my naked body. So with drawbacks and its advantages all considered, I think I can't put this below B tier, but not above B tier as well. So somewhere in the middle, I'll have to say. Now we got Purple Haze, and it's one of my favorite stands, honestly. However, in real life, you won't be able to take control of this stand fully. I mean, not even Fugo can control it. And it can disintegrate, you know, anything or object through its deadly virus. It can even harm the user itself. I mean, not even the user is safe from the virus. And if you can't control it, you'll end up probably hurting yourself along with everyone else in the vicinity. It really does hurt me to put this at D tier, but because of the lack of mastery over the stand, the drawbacks does overweigh the advantages. Up next we got Sex Pistols, and I'm not sure what Araki was really thinking when creating this stand. What it basically does is it reflects bullet, you know, it changes its trajectory, and it is quite limited to bullets only as well. We don't see it use it on anything else, just bullets. So you can become a top-notch marksman, but aside from that, it is way too limited to its use. So I'll have to put this one below Mr. President. This does seem funny, but I'll have to put it at B tier at best, and it also does give me PTSD through YBA experience. And now we got Silver Chariot, and do I even need to cover it? Fast, agile, is pretty good with fencing. It is one of the strongest stands in all of JoJo's. Not as strong as maybe King Crimson or Star Platinum, but it does hold its ground pretty fair. So I'll think that below A tier is pretty fitting for Silver Chariot. Now for Silver Chariot Requiem, we have some things to consider because it is extremely useful if you have full mastery of their stand. Now we know Polnareff didn't have any control over the stand. It just said, fuck it, if I'm this strong, I'm not gonna listen to no one. I'm gonna do my own thing. But if you have control over its powers, which is basically swapping the souls of everyone around you within a great radius, I'm talking like a city radius, and putting everyone to sleep, is a pretty useful stand. I mean, it is way too powerful in that regard. So in one condition that you can actually use the stand, it is definitely an S tier worthy stand. Now we got Self-Machine, and off the start, I mean, this is basically Little Feet with what it does. You can cut something, same with Little Feet, and deflate any object or living being and put them into extremely small spaces. And because of that, I think it's basically a copy version of the same stand, same ability, different method, I'd say. So A tier it is. Now we got Spice Girl, and for its main ability, it softens everything that comes to contact with it. And we see how useful this stand is with the way Trish used it. I mean, it softened up a whole plane and made it a parachute out of it. I mean, there's various ways you can make use of softening things. So with enough creativity, I think it's one of the best stands to use in real life. So I'll have to put this at A tier, fully deserved, honestly. Now we got Sticky Fingers, and in the anime, with the stand, the case is the stand is not as strong, but the user of the stand is extremely good. And what this stand basically does is it opens up a zip in every object or any living being and uses that zipper to make a portal where you can drag things through it, you can go through it yourself, or take parts of an object and even use it to heal someone, which Bucciarati really made full use of this stand, honestly. And with all that said, I think it is on top of A tier without hesitation. Now we got Talking Head, and it's one of the annoying stands in JoJo's. I think what it does is it latches onto the tongue of its victims and makes them lie. Now in politics, I think this would be extremely useful to use or make anyone look bad with a stand like this. I mean, you can make anyone say anything else. It's quite manipulative. I'd say it's very manipulative, and even though it's kind of annoying, I think it does deserve A tier, like below A tier when you consider all the contestants out there. Now we got Grateful Dead, and this is quite the counterproductive stand. It ages anything depending on its body temperature. Even the user itself gets afflicted by the stand's power, and I don't see any use in this. I mean, aging anyone, if you're out there to kill someone, yeah, you might use this to age them, but on long-term use, it doesn't really fit anything. I mean, I'll have to put this in C tier because of how counterproductive this stand is. And another PTSD stand from YWA, we got White Album, and it is extremely strong. This stand is. It gives you an almost impenetrable armor where it keeps you safe, and it gives you an attribute to make ice onto anything. Like you're skating through that ice, you can make ice shards, you can pretty much do a whole lot of things with a stand like this. So because of its defensive stats alone, this stand definitely deserves an S tier place. I just realized I have forgotten to put Rolling Stones in here, but just for the record, it is definitely going to share a spot with Notorious B.I.G. It's a stand that you cannot control, and it definitely locks someone's fate in terms of death. I mean, if you see your face on the Rolling Stones, well, goodbye to you. And if you're about to change that fate, you want to make a difference, well, it will only make it worse by taking more lives as seen in the anime. And yeah, that was the ranking of stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind.